Hello and good day, Mike Adcock with an update on Tropical Storm Peipah located southeast of Palau. This briefing is based on the 12 Zulu Japan Meteorological Agency advisory from the 5th of April. Take a look at satellite imagery. The initial frames there you see pretty decent looking storm. The past few hours on the other hand, not so well defined. Do have some strong convection between Palau and Yap State, but outside of that, really poor evidence of the circulation here. One of the things that the system is dealing with is some moderate easterly shear. That's pretty evident on the west side of the storm. You see all this cirrus out ahead of it, not so much on the east side, so it is dealing with that shear, and that is helping to push all that convection off to the western side of the storm. As of 12 Zulu, or about 9 p.m. local time there in Palau, the center of circulation was 515 kilometers south of Yap, or 515 kilometers east-southeast of Palau. It is moving a little bit faster now off to the west-northwest at 22 kilometers per hour. Winds have increased to 65 kilometers per hour with gusts up to 95, and our pressure down to 1,000 hectopascal. Now, right now we are just to the east of the Philippine area of responsibility. Once we do cross over to the 135-degree line, Pagasa will start issuing advisories as well, and we'll also pick up the local name of domain, so make sure you follow that there in the local media in the Philippines. All right, take a look at Dvorak. Again, just looking at that strong convection between Palau, or just east of Palau, between Palau and Yap State. Interesting story, Nesdis at 9 Zulu, what they're talking about, the convection being ill-defined, the cloud tops had warmed considerably, indicating weakening, and they were only able to wrap the convection about 2/10 around the center of circulations. As a result, the data T was a very, very weak 1.0, really not something you would even track. And because the cloud features weren't so well defined, they opted to go with pattern. So 2.0, of course, because that has been a near-term weakening trend, 2.5 is the current intensity, or about 65 kilometers per hour. JTWC, JMA, both showing a little bit more, about 4/10 of a wrap. So that would be a 2.5, or about 65 kilometers per hour. So the interesting thing is the advanced Dvorak techniques. Same time, 12 Zulu was a little bit stronger at about 83 kilometers per hour, or 45 knots. Now, that being said, there has been some short-term weakening even in the advanced Dvorak techniques, so we'll have to continue to monitor this. It's very cyclic in nature. You know, this is the initial stages of the storm, but yeah, right now not very well defined. It's not going to intensify very rapidly, which is a good thing considering the threats to land. Taking a look at the wider picture here across the Western Pacific, you do see those rain showers starting to move into Palau now, that deep convection off to the east. One thing of note is this cold front, and then kind of turns into kind of a shear line that extends off to northern Luzon. That will have a play in allowing Peipah to gain a little bit more latitude prior to affecting the Philippines. In the meanwhile, we do have some weak ridging trying to wedge its way, or being forced out between the cyclone and that trough, giving some fair conditions, honestly, to Guam. Do see that here in our surface analysis at 6 Zulu. Again, JMA probably could have identified just a weak stationary boundary, a shear line extending off toward the Philippines there. But again, just some weak ridging, just between this system and that frontal boundary. All right, let's take a look at JMA's forecast. Now, interesting enough, they keep it awfully south. I think a little bit souther than it really needs to be. Well south of Palau, and then affecting more east central Mindanao later on. Some slow strengthening, though, actually, about 5 knots per day, and by the 72-hour point, just to the east of Mindanao, current intensity there or forecast intensity rather, about 50 knots, or just at severe tropical storm strength. So very slow intensification from what you would expect. JTWC, on the other hand, keeps it a little closer to Palau. Current intensity right now 65 kilometers per hour with gusts up to 85, and peaking out just prior to landfall in northeastern Mindanao at 100 kilometers per hour with gusts up to 130, after which it goes in and affects the whole southern tip of Cebu and then Negros. The big problem is you're going to be dealing with shear with the system, so that's going to cap off significant intensification, and then once we do get it about the 72-hour point, start affecting the land, that should weaken the system, although atmospheric conditions improve and we see shear relax a little bit, and the system starts to be influenced by mid-latitude trough. Now here's the National Weather Service track. Same information from JTWC, just displayed a little bit differently here. Do you see that blue shading indicating the tropical storm force winds? The interesting thing of note again, most of Palau being affected by that. As a result, the National Weather Service has issued a tropical storm warning for Palau. So continue to it's going to be a rough night with that convection rolling in, so heavy showers, some gusty winds throughout the evening and into your Sunday, so something to definitely keep an eye out. And then taking a look at the rest of the agencies out there, it's very interesting. JMA, Korea, as well as America, keeping the system a little bit on the southern end. Beijing and Taiwan, both a little bit further north, barely clipping, or at least in Beijing's case, and avoiding Mindanao altogether and affecting the Visayas and making more of a northern turn. And a lot of that has to do with taking a look at the GFS ensemble here. What we do here is we're taking the GFS model, we're applying some different scenarios. That's kind of the idea of the ensemble here, is different scenarios out there, see how it runs, and how the atmosphere, or how the models anyway, interpret the atmosphere over the next several days. It gives us an idea of where some of the probabilities of this tropical storm may impact. And again, northeastern Mindanao, and then really the Visayas over the next few days, and then being influenced by that trough and moving off toward the northwest. So after the Visayas are done with, Luzon, you may not experience a direct impact, but heavy showers and some increased winds are very likely as we get into late next week for you. This is the Canadian model ensemble, and again, very interesting. A lot of spread here. You're not seeing any of the agencies really going with this one. Interestingly enough, a lot of them recurve it prior to the Philippines, so some will continue to monitor, but I don't feel this is a very likely scenario. And then for our intensity, again, JTWC probably on the high side here compared to the rest of the reasonable model outputs. Again, the threat of this becoming a severe tropical storm prior to landfall there in Mindanao is possible. Not honestly, it's not extremely likely. It's there. That possibility does exist. So we definitely want to be forewarned for it, but it really wouldn't surprise me if this system does not get its act together based on its prior history. So taking a look at the surface plots, not much out there. Again, we are pretty well removed. Do have a ship off to the west there, 1,006.6 hectopascal. We'll take a look though at Palau here at the International Airport. Current conditions, wind temperature 27.8 degrees under cloudy skies, some light rain showers there, but light winds not really affecting your visibility there, and our current pressure 1,009.7 hectopascal. And keep it tuned over at westernpacificweather.com. We'll continue to monitor the progress of Peipah over the next few days. You can also track us at Facebook and Twitter, and join in on the conversation at storm2k.org. Follow me at Twitter and Google+, subscribe at YouTube, and you'll get information as I post it. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great day. Be safe out there, and take care.